Oh, Craig, you useless piece of shit.
He is a useless piece of junk.
Hey, Panda.
I'm sorry. Yes.
Panda, we need you to make a death saving throw.
Crap. I don't have my dice in front of me. What am I doing?
You're currently at 2 failures.
I'm currently at 2 failures. Okay. Roll dice. I will roll a d20. I got a 2.
Goodbye.
It's not a crit failure.
I'm dead.
He's dead.
Welcome
back, Panda. It's been a while.
Welcome back.
I'll use my inspiration die.
Oof. I think my chair just critically died.
Uh-oh.
Oh, I got another 2.
Oh, God.
No. It's the D&D curse.
Yeah.
So we're the Grumpy Dungeon Masters. I'm Grumpy Dungeon Master Jay. My co-host, Grumpy Dungeon Master Christopher, and we are joined by the friend of the show and fellow Grumpy Dungeon Master, Reverend Panda.
Hey, guys. It is also Chris, but I let Waples take the name for now.
Yeah. Too many Chris's. So
there's no such thing. No such thing.
If there's more than one, there's too many Chris's. We need to have. I think all the Chris's need to have.
It's a Chris off. It's going to be a Chris off.
What was the giant Reddit fight that they had for? I think it was Josh.
yeah, it was Josh.
Yeah, and what was it? Some 6-year-old kid won. That was amazing.
Yep.
Good for him.
Yeah, we need to have that for Chris's.
I think it's about time. I know a lot of them.
It really, and my daughter's name is Madeline, and there's 14 different Madelines or Madeline adjacent names in her grade alone. Yeah,
it must be making a comeback or something because that was
Madeline and in turn Madison are just the 2 most popular girl names right now.
Madison has been popular for a while. I typically think of that with a Karen type attitude, but Madeline, that was a name that was dying off. So it's one of those 1930s names that's making a comeback.
You realize that meme is going to kill the name Karen forever.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
No one is going to dare name their kid that anymore.
Which is funny because my mom's name is Karen, and she is so far from being a Karen that it's amazing.
And yet,
yeah, I have an aunt the same way, where her name was Karen, and she's very nice and considerate, and it's gone away. Yeah, it's at an all-time low for this year so far.
Not surprised.
It was the 3rd most popular name during the 1960s.
Yep. Oh, well. But this is not what we're talking about on this podcast. On this podcast...
Are you sure? We could talk about D&D names for a whole thing.
Oh, now if we're talking D&D names, that's...
I see. Now in D&D, the name Karen will not go away because it's a great villain name now.
Oh, yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I would especially do a bard named Karen who just yells insults at everybody.
Yes.
I mean, that'd be
honestly, the website Fantasy Name Generator has been a godsend for finding names. And the fact that it has pretty much every tabletop in existence or type of fantasy or folklore to generate random names for, and the fact that Wizards and even D&D Beyond has a link to it when you create characters to Fantasy Name Generator.
Wizards of the Coast has a link. That's amazing because they don't link to anybody.
So it's very interesting that is as popular as it is, and I mean, heck, they even have Diablo names for your Diablo characters.
I mean, I've used it. That's how I came up with all of my NPCs named Steve, Dave, and Bob. So.
I have the same names I recycle for all my characters. It really doesn't change.
Yeah, I'm still running the Grumpy Dungeon Master tournament. It should be done by the time this podcast comes out. So what I did is I needed a name for a Hobgoblin Devastator. I just gave him Steve. I was like, I ain't gonna think about this. It's too late at night. His name is Steve. And then when I do the trivia section at the end with Craig, I was like, what's the name of the Hobgoblin you met earlier?
Bob. Bob, yeah, it was Bob.
So FantasyNameGenerator.com has 2 new folklore, I guess, name generators. Jormonger names
Your manga.
No.
and Tokoloshoni names. I have no idea what that
Anime
one
names.
is.
Right, anime names, gotcha.
Ah, yeah.
But I guess it's a specific type of anime names. But yeah,
I'm sure it is.
but the Jormonger names are the best because it gives you like
Jormonger.
the
Really, all that is picking out a bunch of Scrabble tiles and throwing them out.
the best part is every vowel has some kind of thing above it that I can't pronounce.
All right, you got to throw some
Yeah.
umlauts in there.
Why,
and
yeah,
stuff
why
like
are
that,
there
you're
why
good.
are there 16 umlauts on this word with 6 letters?
So Giptarfora.
You've already said it wrong. You missed
I
the
know.
umlauts.
Yeah, you missed all the
There's not enough guttural in there too.
There's only one, and that the O at the end is like an X. I have no idea what that is.
Basically, you sound like a bassy version of a Murloc. That's close enough.
That's the GIF monster.
Oh, I see you're speaking Klingon.
Oh yes, even closer.
Let's see if there's any other good ones here. Cave serpent. It's Hellasgonder.
What?
Hellasgonder.
I'm sorry, I don't need all these. Fantasy name generator done. Don't.
Curing serpent. Hellasuninor. Oh, these are great.
Too much.
Mary serpent. Gamma Naganandar.
Mostly, I just enjoy listening to you try to pronounce anything. Doesn't matter what the language is.
So for the next hour, I'm going to read.
No,
you're not.
No,
I'm already over it.
Yep. Oh my god, I'm looking at some of these from the Jormungandr, and I would not want to even try to pronounce most of these.
Give me your best one.
Oh man, what is the like? What is it when you have an A and E that are literally having sex with each other? Because I don't know how to pronounce that.
It's Aether, right?
That's where it would be used. Yes.
Yeah. But what is it like? So it's just an A, or is it an E, or is it
So
I think it's an A that ends as an E.
Frayed you hogger. That's what this one means. Frayed you hogger. All right, I'm done with this.
All right, Panda, your turn.
Yeah, this wasn't even a topic that
Find
we had.
your favorite snake name.
Apparently, the AE together is the same sound you would get from an A in like the word have. And
that. So almost like you're British.
Kinda. Yeah. It's using the example of have, that, and.
Okay, then.
On.
Well, let's talk about.
Anyway, that's enough of that.
Let's talk about something in a language that we actually all speak.
All right.
Food.
I got the first best thing. All right.
That's impossible because I already know the best thing is coming from Jay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I have found the most expensive miniature on the face of the planet.
Oh, okay. I'm actually interested in this.
Okay. And the best part is it's sold by Home Depot.
Is it the 7 foot tall one?
It is a 7 foot
That's
tall
not a miniature.
dragon made of iron. And
That's not a miniature.
You can easily take it and throw it wherever you want on your lawn, and a dragon protects your home forever.
That's like literally just saying a dragon statue is a miniature. Like, that's ridiculous. It's not a miniature.
That's a statue.
It's $4,600.
I mean, it's expensive.
I've started a GoFundMe.
Of course you have.
Yeah. So I need to go to Grumpy Dungeon Master.
It's only $4,362 or $182 monthly for 24 months.
Oh yeah, see that you don't even need to do the GoFundMe. You can just get a line of credit with them and pay it off.
And they'll deliver.
I mean, it'll look great in your front yard. I'm sure your next door neighbors wouldn't even mind.
Honestly,
right up until somebody steals it.
When I first saw it, I was like, I have to buy this. And then I saw the price. I was like, damn, I really want it. I'll throw the link up in the Discord so people can like look at it and be amazed by how awesome this miniature is.
See, at first I thought you were talking about the 7-foot tall skeleton that goes in the front yard from Home Depot.
No.
I assumed you were going to name some sort of extra weapon you can buy for a Warhammer 40K figure.
Yeah, that would be likely.
I don't want to ever
The
talk about
most
the Warhammer
expensive
miniature market.
figure ever.
Only $872,000.
Dude, you wish your bolter had an extra little, reticle on it? Well, now you can.
A Warhammer, the most expensive game of all time.
Is it
Money
though?
Thinking of that game.
It's pretty
Yes.
high. It's one of.
Yes.
I don't know. Have you guys ever played Cutthroat Uno?
Okay, that actually just destroys families. That's not a monetary thing, other than maybe cost of divorce and everything.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The cost of divorce,
Nope.
playing the game.
No. Guarantee you that there are guys out there that have lost more money in 40K than they have in a divorce.
Especially the guys who had a divorce and lost their 40K armies in it.
I was just thinking that. I was wondering if there's
guaranteed
ever been a family
it's the guys
out
who
there.
spent that much money on 40K is the reason for the divorce.
Yeah, yeah, that too.
I wonder if there's ever been a divorce with a woman or the other partner basically wanted to make sure she got the 40K figures in the divorce so she could destroy them.
Yes.
I'm sure it's happened.
You could have the Tyranid army, but you can't have my Custodes.
It's happened with video game systems for certain, so I'm sure it's happened with Warhammer at some point.
I mean, there's that famous photo of the two guys getting divorced, like sorting Beanie Babies.
Yeah.
Like it was an investment.
Yep.
Are we still in that phase of collectibles?
No.
Where like we think that things we buy now are going to be worth money in 40 years?
In some markets, yes, but Beanie Babies was a fad market and everybody knew it. Most of the collectibles markets that people think that way have also been around for over 20 years. Yeah, Magic the Gathering, baseball cards, things like that.
But a lot of these sort of games have been ruining their own collectible market anyway. Magic's horrible about it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we're going to just reprint this freaking card now. Well, then why do I need the old one?
Yeah,
there's only, I can only use certain cards now within my decks. I can't use just any Magic card. Oh, well, then screw it. Why would I want to collect the old ones? Just to brag? Whatever.
I mean, there's definitely a lot of monetary value from those old cards. But then they print out stuff like the One Ring, which recently was found this week. It got graded a 9 out of possible 10.
Makes no sense why it was graded a 9.
Poorly.
It's the only one of its existence. There can't be any other variant of it. Well, so it is automatically a 10.
That is not how that works. If it is not printed exactly perfect, if every corner doesn't line up exactly perfect,
there's nothing to compare it to,
except every other Magic card.
Yeah.
No, it's a borderless card. It's full art. Okay, so corners don't matter.
It's written in Elvish.
It's written in Elvish, so alignment doesn't matter. Okay,
which is just
there's only one of them, so you can't tell if it's faded or not, or otherwise. The only thing I could think of is they found some kind of blemish on the back of the Magic card because they're all exactly the same.
I mean, you also have to realize it probably was pulled out of a pack, and at any point, whoever cracked it open would have probably touched that card because it would have been at the back of the pack. So it had a fingerprint. It had human oil on it.
So there's actually a conspiracy theory going around about this, which I heard about, and the conspiracy is that PSA, who created the card, has been trying to enforce that they don't give out 10s to just anything, because they were accused of giving out 10s to a couple of other people recently. Like, there is not a Gem Mint 10 Charizard Pokemon card out there at all. But Jake Paul bought a Charizard, sent it into PSA, and they gave it back a 10. Even though the card that he bought it from, the collector that Jake Paul bought it from, had it already graded by PSA, and it came back as like a 9.2 or something like that.
Right.
It was a very good card, but it was not a 10. But because Jake Paul sent it in, now it's automatically a 10. So there's a conspiracy going around that this one ring would never get graded above a 9 because PSA wants to start enforcing that they're not giving out 10s to just something because it's fancy.
It's probably accurate. Like,
Yeah, but it's kind of BS because this is the one ring. You can't compare it to anything. There'll never be anything to compare it
it's
to.
the one to rule them all.
So
And
it
no one-
has to be a 10. You could punch out a 1-inch circle in the middle of the card.
Well, at that point,
Yeah, you could flag
you
it.
damaged it, and no.
Yeah, but it's still a
the
gem mint 10
rating
because
of
there's
the-
nothing to compare it to.
But the rating of the card, well, no, it still does.
Yeah,
You can still compare it, but it's once again, it has nothing to do with just even what the card is. If let's say they printed it out, but it's like a millimeter off center for everything else, it's not a 10.
I get that for any other card.
For every
you can't
card.
No,
tell
But
that
you can
this
compare
card
it
is
to
a millimeter off center because there's nothing to compare it to.
Yes, you can to the standard rule of what a Magic card should look like.
But that's the thing is the one ring does not look like a standard Magic.
It is still a Magic card.
If you damage the back of that card, if you damage a corner or anything, it's not a matter of what you're comparing it to. At that point, it's literally damaged, and it's not going to grade a 10.
If the back of that Magic card is off by a millimeter, it's flawed.
That's the only thing that I could think of is the back of the card may have been bad.
I like
they
the conspiracy theory better.
They didn't actually say what they graded low on the card.
No, yeah, unfortunately, no one's saying why, and also nobody knows who owns it.
Yeah.
Well, it's still going up for auction. The
right, just that the owner is anonymous.
The owner's anonymous. He went through a lawyer. The company that wanted to buy it for $1 million currently has possession of the card, and they are working as a front for anyone who wants to put in a bid for the card.
Yeah,
and they're going to sell it off later. And if no one puts in a bid higher than $1 million,
people have already thrown out $2 million offers on this thing.
Yeah, so. But they didn't. They haven't. They said that, but they haven't actually pointed up the cash. There's one company that currently has a card, has the $1 million in escrow or whatever sitting there waiting.
Either way, they're rich. Whoever got it.
It's going to be like the son of Bill Gates gets it for Christmas,
or one of the
Elon Musk is going to launch it to the freaking moon.
And Jake Paul's going to have him another necklace.
That actually would be amazing.
Jake Paul's going to buy the card and destroy it online.
That would be the most watched YouTube video of all time.
I have never watched a Jake Paul YouTube video, and I would watch that.
And you know what? I'd actually say, and it's Jake Paul. I would actually say he would. This is oh my god! I would actually watch this video in a heartbeat. Buys the card, flies, goes to Mordor. Basically goes to any place with a volcano.
Yeah, and just chucks
and destroys the card by throwing it into the volcano.
Like that would be the most epic thing ever.
I think the most epic thing would be if he flew to New Zealand, found a volcano, and then threw it in there.
The best part is if he started walking to the volcano from the shot.
Yes.
In New.
There has to be a volcano in New Zealand or an island right near it.
Well, whether or not it's active enough to throw it in, that's the problem.
Yeah, well, light a fire.
It looks like there might be a couple of options. All right, good.
Yeah, see,
there are 24 volcanoes in New Zealand. Hopefully, one of them is usable enough.
Come on, Jake Paul. I hope you hear this. Make this happen.
Listen,
if not
I don't
Jake
care.
Paul, Mr. Beast can do it.
I know we have people here who, listen to this podcast. I know we don't have it's not a gigantic number. We've got people to listen. Please, if there is any podcast you're going to send off and start linking out to famous ass rich people, we got a great idea here, and they need to follow through.
He will make way more than $1 million just from doing this. He could make a whole video series where he puts on hobbit feet.
Oh God,
and walks from the actual Shire in New Zealand all the way there to the volcano. Like just an entire series of him traveling across New Zealand as a hobbit.
He's rich enough. He could hire Andy Serkis to actually dress up as Gollum and chase him.
This idea gets better and better by the moment.
Come on, we're just straight up LARP the entire thing.
Yeah, I was about to say, but you could hire all the original actors, bring them in costume.
I would love that. Bring back Elijah Wood. Oh my goodness!
What he does is he just takes the ring, the card, tapes it into like a circle, and just wears it on a finger.
Sure.
That actually came in the pre-release packs for the Lord of the Rings set. They had a token card that represented the One Ring and what the One Ring does when the ring tempts you. But it was perforated, so you could basically fold off the ring part at the top, and then basically fold it around your finger and like make a little ring out of it.
Really?
Oh dear Lord.
Oh my Lord.
So, well, and I was there at the event watching people. Some people had the ring on. Some people were using it as a token for their monsters and stuff. It was great.
I would have been trying to get 10 of them. I wanted to be the Mandarin.
All right. So you guys have all heard the idea. Make this happen.
Yep.
We need your help. Send it out there. Throw it out to send it to any famous people you know. Make this happen. And please, it throws. I know. I'm not saying that I would like to actually be one of the characters that goes on that adventure, but at the very least, throw me. Throw us a little. Hey, go watch that podcast or something. I don't know.
I mean, my own personal opinion. I don't even care if I get credit. I just want to see this.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would love the lifelong dream of getting to be a real dwarf, but I mean, whatever. I'll take whatever I can get.
Yeah.
Who am I kidding? If they're going to hire a dwarf, they're going to bring Peter Dinklage onto the scene and put a beard on him and be like, yeah, it's close enough.
Or get John Rice Davies to show back up.
Anybody.
I want to be a cave troll, guys. I want to be a cave troll.
They've got a cave troll.
I'm built mostly
it's
like
me!
a dwarf.
Ha ha! All right,
You're tall enough to do cave troll. I can see that.
I am. All right, Jay. So let's get to this big, amazing thing that you found.
Well, hold on.
That we can.
Jay has amazing stuff. I need some help here, though.
Okay.
That's what I was telling Jay. Right? Is that I know maybe you guys aren't fully up because you guys stopped, giving a crap. But I'm trying to. I do still, in my heart of hearts, love D&D.
Y'all do.
And I know you guys do too. But I know maybe you guys aren't following a lot of the stuff that's going to be happening with the new system.
We followed it very heavily until pretty much now. Like this recent Unearthed Arcana is when both of us have just like, I'm done. Don't care.
Well, this is all right. So here's the part that's confusing me. No, the first thing that's confusing me. The playtest material is all listed as Player's Handbook Playtest 6. Okay. So, never mind. I think I've figured this out for myself.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out whether or not
the current one is
this is the 6th part of the playtest. They're not talking about they're not talking about it being 6th edition because I keep seeing references to them just calling this the 2024 5th edition books.
They've officially stated that they are not calling this 6th edition or 5.5. This is basically 5th edition.
Right.
That is their official position. Yeah. Literally everyone I know, and I've seen it online a bunch too, is just calling it 5.5.
A lot of people are calling it 5.5.
It's just going to confuse the hell out of people.
Yeah. And I'm calling it D and Done.
Yeah.
Well, it's like when I started at my job right now, we had 2 contracts we sent out to customers, and they were both called letters of authorization. And it was confusing as hell. I'm like, why do you have 2 documents named the same damn thing? No one understands. It's the same problem here. So I'm looking for a copy of the Player's Handbook.
Which one?
Exactly. I wouldn't even have the faith. I mean, I'm assuming at least the cover art and crap's going to be different.
It is so, but what you're forgetting though is that the second that these books get released next year, they're stopping printing of the original 2014 5th edition books.
Okay.
So you can't buy those books at all anymore. They won't be producing them at all.
They did the same with third.
To buy. They did the same with third. So you have to buy this new system. The new system is being designed for online play through their new system. That's why a lot of the functionality has been kind of like streamlined and homogenized. and all the classes kind of play exactly the same now.
Right. Yeah. No,
and
I've noticed some of that.
the worst part is I don't know what they're going to do about D&D Beyond. If they're going to basically do what they did to Mordenkainen's and Volo's guide, where they just kind of like made everything legacy. So when you want to search for a hobgoblin, you get 2 stupid variants of it now. So if I want to search for a fighter, and I want the good fighter, not this crappy, nerf fighter, what am I going to get? When I search for a longsword, what am I going to get? Am I going to get the original longsword or the new longsword, or am I going to get both? It's
Luckily, the Lord's longsword is the same damn thing. But yes, I understand your point.
but this is an edition of D&D that nobody wants, that nobody needs, that is only being pushed down by Hasbro because they want to make more money and turn D&D into $1 billion product.
I mean,
And I
that's
understand,
accurate. It's
and
very
I
accurate.
understand that, and I understand they want to make more money. There are a lot of things that need to change. They can easily streamline the book. They can release a new player's handbook, but they don't have to drastically change things from a very already 99%, accepted rogue to something that no one wants to play. Like,
The
why are you
rogue.
changing rogues that much?
All right, actually, that brings me to the question. So, what did they change about the rogue?
So the main thing is sneak attack. The fact that they also apply to the weapon types, they can bring in some of those things as well, and they can't if they make. I understand why they took this out, but it's still dumb. If they make an attack outside of their turn, they no longer get sneak attack damage on that attack.
Yeah, they do.
No, they took that out.
Design note in the latest thing: sneak attack is no longer required to be used on your turn with the attack action.
Okay, so they added it back in because
Right.
that was a big complaint. Like, people are like, why are you nerfing rogues? You
But
came back and said that has 99% acceptance. Why would you change anything at all?
which I get, but I think, and this is the hard part to deal with sometimes, because I know what they're doing. I understand the mentality they're shooting for here. Is even though something is accepted for one of your play tests, you might tweak it to something else just to see how it plays out.
Yep.
And I
Because
understand
you
that it
want to
is.
see how I was like, all right, guys, what if we did do this way? Does it completely screw it, or does it still leave us open to try something else?
Then I think for me is if you're giving me something that's a play test, you're wanting me to basically stress your system to find what is and is not working correctly and what needs to be clarified. If you're trying to test new mechanics, that's not a play test to me. That's development.
No,
That's
that's a
alpha
playtest.
stages.
Absolutely a playtest.
That's alpha. That's beta stage stuff.
Testing mechanics is absolutely playtest.
Let's not get bogged down on
Yeah.
the definitions of playtest or beta or alpha or any of that shit. This is not a finalized edition, so they are just throwing shit out there to see what people think about it. And I have no issue with that.
And I have no issue with that either, but there were some things that in the first couple of videos that Crawford said, it's like we changed crit. You may like it, you may not. Let us know. It's just not final. And everyone was like, okay, we like this parts, we don't like this parts. There, you got actual feedback. But then there were changes that they didn't say were like, hey, we want to see what happens. What if we do this? Or what if we do that?
Well,
What
because
if
they're
we
not
make
going to bring it
Warlocks
up
a
for
half
every
caster?
one of them.
Well, when you make Warlocks a half caster and you took away and you say the statement, Warlocks have no unique class fantasy, so we're removing all the unique class fantasy for this playtest.
Like, if I'm not lying, I actually never liked the Warlock anyway, but I get your point.
I've never liked the Warlock.
I never thought it had a place as a D&D class. I always thought it would. I'm like, no, that's a wizard.
A lot of people do.
That's a wizard with flair.
To me, it's a cleric.
Or a cleric. It's either one. Well, exactly. A cleric is just a warlock with a better PR. Or it can be a wizard because your spellbook maybe was given to you by a dark entity. Whatever.
So I understand what they were doing, but the problem is that when these playtests had started, the OGL stuff was still hot. You were dead.
I was
Valhalla
yes, I
at
was.
the
I took a
time.
trip to Valhalla.
So like, we've already expended so much energy critiquing this stuff, supplying actual feedback. Okay,
Yeah, at least the first couple of them, we actually did give them feedback.
but they're just publishing stuff now. They're not telling you what they changed. They have a very crappy change log, and
So
it's so vague and in between, like how long they're leaving the period open and how everything's going. It's just this is taking too much time and effort for me to sit here and keep trying to throw feedback to an empty void chasm.
Yep.
And hope that changes happen.
That's Waple's thoughts on it. For me, honestly, I like what they're doing with the playtest, and I have no issues with what they are doing with a playtest, because that's they're throwing ideas out there. They're seeing what people like, don't like, etc. For me, though, I'm just already done with 5th edition, and I don't care about their next edition. 5th edition was so it's a very nice, clean system to introduce people to role-playing games, and I am absolutely fine with that. I love that, but I've gone other directions. Like, I'm just done with it. I'm running Pathfinder 2nd edition. I've been running Dungeon Crawl Classics. So
speaking of Pathfinder,
and that's actually,
can you pitch me on that?
No, hold on, real quick. So,
sure.
Another quick note is that a lot of other people that I've talked to about the playtest, they keep saying that the problems they have with 5th edition aren't the class design, aren't the spell design, the things that they're changing. Okay, the issue is the back-end mathematics mechanics, like how the XP gain works, how the level curve works, how the monster values versus the player values actually work. Like, those were like the core problems of 5th edition, and they are not addressing a single one of those things, because if they change the back-end mathematics, that is a true edition change. And that's why they can still stay under this umbrella of it's just 5th edition, because they're not changing the back math that supports the system.
And as a system that is designed for new gamers and new DMs, that's the core stuff that really does need to be addressed.
That's garbage.
For somebody who's been doing it a long time, none of that makes any damn difference. I'm just going to create what I need to, adjust things how I need to, because I've been doing it for 35 years. But for somebody who's brand spanking new, that's the things that'll break a game. That's what, it's a major problem.
But trying to follow the rules for how to make a balanced encounter, it's confusing as hell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It still makes no sense. It's still near impossible. Mimics are CR1, yet they can kill anybody.
Yeah, a single mimic can easily just one-shot a character. So
I don't know. It just... Is there anything specific in the playtest that you read that you really liked? Let's stay positive and not grumpy here.
Okay. Well, oddly enough, one of the things that's been very, just speaking of just the PDF design for the moment, the one thing that has been very helpful to me is that they actually have the design notes listed throughout the entire PDF that tell you the main differences between what you're looking at and what you're used to from 5th edition.
Yeah, that's a useful thing.
Because being able to keep track of that is great. Now, I've only just started looking at it, so I haven't looked at every single ability that you can gain from it. But I'm finding the weapon mastery at least interesting. Do you guys know what that is?
I like the weapon mastery stuff. Chris did not.
With the extra little ability you can get.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's not new.
Just go over it since you have it pulled up, Panda. That way, for anybody who hasn't heard us talk about it, will know what we're talking about.
So now all the weapons currently have a new category, which is mastery, and the different classes have access to being able to gain mastery in, usually, from what I've seen, 2 weapons that you can pick. And I think you can even change them up at different times. I'd have to go back and reread it. But you can get 2 weapons, and and the 2 weapons that you pick, you can actually use the mastery ability of those weapons. So, for example, I'm looking at the rapier, which caught my eye as being actually quite powerful. The rapier, still standard D8 piercing with finesse, but now if you have the master in it, you can use an ability called Vex, presumably that you are pissing them off and distracting them in the fight. What that Vex does is that if you hit a creature with this weapon and deal damage to the creature, you have advantage on your next attack roll against that creature before the end of your next turn. So as long as you keep hitting, you just always have advantage.
Yeah, and that's a great thing for rogues.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so for me, that's what I always wanted out of 5e, and that's why I left 5e, was the fact that they did not have options. Every character, once you make a character that's a druid, and you're the exact same thing as every other druid of that archetype. No matter what you've done, there's no options to do anything different. So anything that they're going to add on top of what is already there is probably a good thing.
Well, especially when it comes to weapons, is that with weapons, it has always been why would I use anything other than this weapon? Because it is the best weapon I could possibly use for what I'm doing.
And mind you, the rapier has been the best weapon for rogues for 5e forever. But I know what they added with short swords mastery was also really good. I don't remember what it was, but I know I liked it.
Actually, short sword is also Vex.
Oh, okay. So
the same thing.
My issue is that what they had was too little. And because it was too little, it added a complexity that wasn't needed. When you compare it to 4th edition, and even I guess 3rd edition, that had weapon masteries in it that were much more varied, much more unique, and allowed the player to build a character around what they wanted to do more.
3rd didn't really have masteries like that, but 3rd was all about the feats. So every character was completely different if you built with different feats.
So like in 4th, when it came to like the longsword, there was like 3 different longsword variants. There was a bastard sword, the longsword, and the khopesh. Well, the longsword gave you like defensive, and that was your mastery for it. It was also versatile. The bastard sword wasn't versatile, but was one-handed and always swung at a D10 or something like that.
Which is weird because it's literally a versatile weapon where you can use it one or two hand. I don't know 4th edition, but like a bastard sword it's a hand and a half sword. You can use it one or two handed.
And then the khopesh was basically a one-handed sword that had brutal 1 on it, so you rerolled all damage dice that landed as a 1.
Right.
So there was more there already that they didn't bring over to 5th because they wanted a more simple system. So now they bring over 3 things that they threw on all the weapons and said, all right, we're done. We solved the problem with the weapons being dull. No,
3 things?
Or 4 things, whatever.
It was
1,
more
2,
than
3,
that,
4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
So they could do more for certain, but I like that direction.
Mm-hmm.
There's like
and once again,
Vex.
No, there were more.
No, so there's Flex. Flex is when it's for versatile weapons, except that you always do the versatile damage even when you're wielding it with one hand. You have Graze, which is for heavy property weapons. You can deal damage to that. So if your attack roll with this weapon misses a creature, you can deal damage to that creature equal to your ability modifier used to make the attack roll. So you can just do a little, if something's like on the death's door,
you're still doing 4 damage to it.
Right, you're still doing 4 damage, and that might be enough to just put it down. Because there's nothing more annoying than that monster that has 1 hit point left and you keep missing it.
Yep.
They have Nick, which is for light weapons. Where you when you make an extra attack of the light property, you can make it as part of the attack action instead of as a bonus action. You can still make this extra attack only once per turn. So basically, with that, you get your main hand and your offhand attack and still have a bonus action. I like that.
Yeah,
that makes me happy. Ooh, and short sword should really get that. A short sword should really get that ability, not the Vex.
Yeah.
And then we have Push, which is pretty straightforward. You knock them 10 feet away. That's for heavy, two-handed, or versatile weapons. Can get have the possibility of having that. There's Sap, You hit a creature with this weapon. That creature has disadvantage on its next attack roll before the start of your next turn. Nothing wrong with that. And then there's a slow. You reduce its speed by 10. There's a topple, or there's a con save, or I'm assuming they end up prone. And then there's Vex, which is basically the infinite advantage.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's not bad for me. That 8 different properties to throw around the different things. I think the only thing that I would like as a tweak to that is that right now they have it listed as like the short sword gets Vex, and that's just what its mastery is listed as. But some of the other ones, technically, it could, by the definition of what that weapon is, it could also have the Nick, because Nick is a light property. So when you pick your master, you should pick what one you get.
I also like that they've thrown this in because this is an easy thing for the DM to fudge around. Oh, yes. You're lucky and you manage to find a smith who can make a short sword with the Nick property instead of the Vex property.
Oh God, yes.
Yes, let's let the players fix all the problems.
Yes.
I mean, it's a role playing game, so that's what you're supposed to be doing anyway.
I love the idea. I understand what you're. Wait, but I'm sorry. I don't mean to cut you off. But I'm just. I love the idea of, even if they put it into the rule system, that what the mastery is depends on when you buy the weapon. So if you buy the weapon, you can buy the weapon with one of the available properties of that would be the mastery for that weapon. But if you want to, if you want to be able to use the other mastery, then you're going to have to go get a secondary weapon.
Yeah, or I mean, honestly, you could even you find a dagger that's magical and it actually has the push property on it. It's made of force energy.
Sure, I like that too.
Like tons of options
great.
with this.
That's really great.
I would like to see those things, the masteries, expanded upon way beyond just 8. I would like to see 30 or 40 of them personally. But
I think that they could do what we currently have for the weapon feats, where I'm using a bludgeoning weapon, so it always does this sort of ability. What were that? Was that in Tasha's?
I don't even remember.
Yeah, basically it was if you have this type of weapon, you can buy the feat for it, and then it does some extra nonsense. I think it's if you with the bludgeoning, if you do I think the bludgeoning one was, if you do a critical hit with it, everybody gets advantage against that creature until the end of your next turn.
I don't even remember any of this. I don't recall.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the weapon feats. I don't remember what book they were in.
Maybe they expanded or something.
No, Chris,
this is printed material.
No, you're talking about them. They're having 8. Chris, there were at least 8 when we looked at it and went over it. You've just forgotten because you didn't want to even talk about any of it.
Because I thought it was dull, and it still sounds dull. It just sounds like an extra meaningless mechanic that they put in that they should have had in a while ago. And the fact that they're not giving it to they're just giving it to any martial class.
It was fighter. I think they changed that because it was. I want to say fighter started with mastery or got mastery early. I don't, and I could be completely wrong too.
I mean, if the problem they were trying to solve was, how do we solve them from just using one weapon the entire game?
Yeah.
And why is it always longsword? Then they still failed at accomplishing that, because players, like they always will do, is they'll find whatever the best weapon is.
Yep.
And just stick to that. Sounds like they're going to go for, most workers just go for vexing forever, or whatever.
Which is yeah. I mean, that's an impossible problem. I won't say it's impossible. It's a difficult problem to solve because players will always pick the best weapon, and then if you allow those abilities to be moved around on weapons, they're going to find the best weapon with the best combination of mastery.
Right, but I don't feel like this is a good enough attempt to try to solve that problem.
I mean, this isn't finalized.
I think this was an easy way to add in a little bit more variance without bucking the system.
But I like a little more variance.
Yeah.
I want
throw
me a little extra variance. Well, that's
I want
all well and
massive
good.
changes.
If you want a
And-
lot of variants, go play Pathfinder.
All right, so yes. Speaking of that, please pitch me on Pathfinder 2.0.
Okay, this is not a pitch to you, Waples. We've already talked about it. So, Panda, did
Mhm.
you like third edition?
I love third edition.
All right, you're done.
Well,
It's
okay,
not that.
but see,
It's not
that's
that.
not true. See,
I
that's not the
know. I know.
entire thing.
Okay,
Because yes, I love third. I love 3.5 even more. But I've looked at the Pathfinder rules, the original Pathfinder at least,
yes.
and that was just 3.5 for goobers who wanted to do more bullshit.
Okay, so an actual pitch on or on Pathfinder Second Edition. Okay, so it is all about feats in how you build your character. You pick your class just like in anything, and just kind of like in D&D, you're going to get certain levels where you get an ability. You know, just like fighter, the one archetype gets crits on 19 to 20. And then they get another one at 6th level or 9th level, whenever the hell they get this stuff. So that doesn't really change much as far as Pathfinder Second Edition goes. You're going to get set abilities at set levels, but you're also getting feats. You get feats for your ancestry, aka your race. You get feats for your background. You get feats for your class, and you get general feats. I actually yesterday made 3 10th level characters for my play group because we are converting my 5e game over to Pathfinder 2e. So I had a chance to really kind of look at character building. I want to say every one of those characters probably at 10th level has 15 to 18 feats.
Jesus.
And there are a shitload of feats to pick from. So it takes time if you're going to go above first level at building characters. Starting out at first level is not too bad because everything is clean. You've got your ancestry feats separated with the ancestry section. You've got your class ones separated, and you would only be picking from the first level stuff. So as you go up in levels, obviously you get access to more of them. For people who like character variance, you're not going to get much more than that game gives you. Now, as far as being the DM and running it, it is a very clean system. There are structured rules for most everything.
Okay.
There is a huge list of actions, and it is similar to 5e, and these are the actions you can take. But they've expanded on that a lot.
So anyway, so is Pathfinder 2.0? So basically, how Pathfinder was to 3.5, is that how Pathfinder 2 is to 5th?
Yes, and yeah, it kind of is. They even went with a better action economy. Like 5th edition, you get your action, you get your move action, attack action, bonus action. You get basically 3 actions. In Pathfinder 2nd edition, they just give you 3 actions. You can use them in any way you want. You also have reaction, which does not count as one of those 3 actions.
I guess I'd have to look at the system, but if I'm being honest, I don't think I like it. The sound of it so far.
I would say
It's that sort of. While I love customization and I love nifty little ways you can tweak and change things, I like restrictions on how things can be done. And I don't want so many things that I can't keep track of them either, which was my problem with the original Pathfinder.
Yep.
Was that I had a guy that I was working for on Twitch, and I was his D&D guru as dubbed by him, because anytime they had D&D questions, I would answer whatever the problem was. But they actually decided they were going to, he was going to participate in a game of Pathfinder. So I was like, all right, cool. Let me go look at the rules and I'll help you build a character because, it's 3.5 to Pathfinder. At least I knew enough that it was like, it's pretty much the same damn thing. You just get more nonsense.
Yeah.
But I remember building him like a 7th level ranger who had 5 or 6 feats by that time already.
Mm-hmm.
And building up his bow skill to some stupid level of nonsense because he just gave you so much gooberish bull to throw at a character. I'm like, this is so much crap. crap to try to keep track of.
The way I've described it to my players, you've got D&D. Just think of 5th edition D&D. It is the middle ground of tabletop role-playing game. Pathfinder is taking it way beyond that, and Dungeon Crawl Classics is taking it way less than that. Dungeon Crawl Classics, I've really been enjoying it lately, and it is much more akin to basic D&D.
All right, now one of my players actually sent me something about Dungeon Crawl Classic. What the hell is that?
I mean, you probably started around the same era I did. Redbox, D&D, basic Dungeons and Dragons, or 2nd edition. It's much more in line with that. It is incredibly rules light. There is no THACO. They don't use that. It's much more. It's a more modern system, but at the same time, you don't get a lot of choices or variety for character creation. Everything is done via role playing, and I love both options. Like, I'm a fan of having a lot of rules, and I'm a fan of having almost no rules.
Sure.
But I want the characters. It's those characters need variety. With a light rule system, you're going to have variety just through role playing. If your characters are going to have to weasel their way through that, and it's going to make them interesting. In Pathfinder, it's going to be because you've just got access to so much shit that makes you interesting.
Okay. Cool.
Well,
I might not mind Dungeon Crawl, because I mean, my first role playing was all text based and had no rules whatsoever. So, sure.
What I find interesting is that the Ticking 20 YouTuber that does a lot of D&D videos, he's done a lot of Pathfinder 2e and a lot of 5th edition. And about 2 years ago, he quit playing Pathfinder for a major issue with the mechanics of the system. And he actually goes through a very long video. I've linked it in our Discord about why it is the way it is. And how he's even brought it up to the developers of Pathfinder and kind of mentions, like, I think this needs a change or be fixed. And of course, a lot of people disagree with him, but it's pretty much revolves around the action economy of Pathfinder versus 5e. And he thinks that the Pathfinder one doesn't work as well as the 5th edition one, which I thought was weird, But it is what it is. It's worth a watch. It's in our Discord if you want to take a.
I think that was one of the things that did throw me off when he was like, "You have 3 actions, you can use them for anything." It's like, honestly, I've never had a problem with the action economy. I like that. My players are like, "Cool, you have these 3 different types of actions you can take. That's what you have access to. Tell me what you're going to do with them." I don't need my player to sit there and be like, "I attack, attack, and attack, and attack." All right, great. Or, cool. All right, I'm going to hide with my bonus action. Or I'm going to use this spell that I can only use as bonus action. Like, I like them switching it up and changing it, and not just sitting there and just be like, "Oh, well, I'll just repeat the same thing again and again and again."
You can, but it also, I will point out, it gives you other options, other actions that you can do. As I did mention, it gives you a lot of actions. So attacking every round may not be the best choice.
Yeah.
But I guess you can attack 3 times a round if you just use all your actions to attack.
If you want to. Now, there are negatives to doing that. The first attack is at your normal roll. The next one is at a -5 penalty. The next one is at a -10 penalty.
Oh, isn't that how they used to do it in like 3?
Yeah, something similar. Yeah, it was 3rd edition or something like that.
Was it 3rd? Yeah. Some nonsense like that.
Yeah, I do remember in Pathfinder, if you have a light weapon in the offhand, or if you're using a light weapon in the main hand.
Oh God, the chart.
No, there's no chart or anything. It's the second attack is at -4, the third one's at -8.
No, but there was a chart in 3.5 at least, where it was like, if you take offhand attack minus this and minus this. If you take if you have offhand with light weapon, it's this and this. If you have offhand with 2, but you have 2 weapon fighting, and then it's this and this. If you have ambidexterity, it's this. If you have both, then it's this. Like I remember that chart.
They don't have all that shit. That was rough. Modifiers were the bane of everybody's existence for 3rd and 3.5. They've nullified a lot of that.
You actually had to take ambidextrous. I forgot about that shit.
Yeah, there's no shit like that. Yeah,
Still,
well, you had to have ambidexterity and two weapon fighting.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
Yes, you did.
And it was just too much, man.
Hey, you know what? This could sell me on it right now. Does Pathfinder 2.0 have old school monkey grip feet?
Maybe. I am not familiar enough with all of the feats.
Do you remember monkey grip from 3.5?
Yeah. No. You're talking about being able to dual wield two-handed swords.
Yes. Two-handed weapons become one-handed weapons. Cool. Give me my
Well,
double great sword.
I mean, two-handed weapons do become one-handers when you're, the size of Waples. So.
Yeah.
Right. But when you can play, a dwarf with that, it's amazing. Give me two great axes and let's go to town.
So anyway, that's my pitch for it.
Cool.
I would suggest checking it out at least and seeing what you think about it.
All right, I have one other thing I'd like to talk about, but actually, Jay, I want you to talk about your thing first, so we don't get sidetracked.
Actually, I want to talk about something before Jay gets into his thing.
Crap.
We're gonna get to mine. Don't worry. I'm not leaving this podcast until I talk about it.
I actually didn't have anything. I just wanted to delay him again.
Oh, okay.
Go, Jay. Go.
Well, good job. So I sent you guys the link to this thing, and I've kind of briefly looked through it. But I was hanging out with my buddy Mike yesterday, and he told me he had this PDF for Wendy's Presents Feast of Legends: Rise from the Deep Freeze. And I knew about this thing years ago, and I had completely fucking forgot it existed. It is actually a module and a role-playing system because it is their own damn system. And it was released by Wendy's, the restaurant company. So where the fuck you at, Arby's? Where you at?
I'm sorry. Well, Wendy's has won the food wars at this point, just by having the best Twitter possible.
Well, Arby's has a fucking great Twitter too, and they release a lot of D&D stuff, including dice that you can't actually ever get.
Has Arby's started selling hamburgers yet?
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't really go to. I don't eat it either. So.
Arby's sells hamburgers. They sell a Wagyu beefsteak hamburger.
That's right. You got one of those, didn't you, Waples?
Yeah, it was terrible.
There's your answer. Wendy's still does have some of the best burgers in the fast food is.
I'm sorry. Actually, I have to interrupt you here. I actually had Dairy Queen recently, and we went there just for ice cream. But I got a hamburger. The hamburger was the best hamburger I've had in decades.
I hate Dairy Queen hamburgers.
I like
the
Sonic.
Best in decades.
I don't like Sonic burgers either, but at least they got the chili dog. So
they got tater tots, yo.
And tater tots, yeah. So anyway, this Feast of Legends PDF. It
Order
is
of the home style chicken sandwich.
It is fantastic. First off, they have really good maps throughout this thing, including the Realm of Beef's Keep, which is it's a map of a continent just full of exactly what you would expect: Nation of Freshtown, Roast Beach, the French Fry Forest.
They have Lake. Was it Long Silver there?
Yeah. Lake John Silver.
Does Wendy's own Long John Silver's?
They have to, otherwise. They also have the Box, aka Jack in the Box. So these probably are not owned. But you notice it's Lake John Silver, not Long John Silver's, so they can get away with it.
Of course.
But looking through this thing, their gaming system is like the stats for it are. Where is it? I know it was strength. Damn it, I already lost it. Can't find the stats for it. It had 5 stats as opposed to your standard D&D. Yeah, there it is. Strength, intelligence, charm, arcana, and grace. Grace is just dexterity. They got rid of a constitution score, it looks like. And if you roll and it does use advantage, disadvantage, like 5e. A lot of this is if you played 5e D&D, this is all familiar to you. But if you roll a natural 20, you get feast mode. Instead of beast mode, it's feast mode. You do the maximum amount of attack damage, plus an additional roll of the normal attack die, which this might have come out when 4th edition was out, because that's kind of how 4e did it, isn't it?
Sorry, say it again.
You get maximum amount of attack damage plus an additional roll of the normal attack die.
Yes.
Yeah, that's how that's a 4th edition critical hit.
Yeah, so this may have come out with 4th being on their mind, but it also gives you advantage on your next attack roll.
That's too much.
Well, it's yeah. What do you expect?
I don't know. I kind of want the passive ability fresh, never frozen. You have resistance to all cold damage. You are truly fresh, never frozen.
You know, the armor and weapons in this game are kind of fantastic. The armors that you can get are fresh baked bun, foil wizard robe, apron, red polo black visor, a shift lord's tunic, crispy chicken armor, clamshell packaging, oven plating, bacon armor, and biggie armor.
Nice.
And the weapons are things that you would expect: a spoon, a knife, a whisk, a fork, toothpicks, a spatula, a ladle, cast iron skillet. Cast iron skillet, that's a heavy two-hander with 3d6 damage.
This just sounds like everyone should just play D&D, but if you're playing a halfling, you should play this.
Yeah.
Like, this is just, you're playing a halfling, or this is your rulebook.
Oh, speaking of halflings, going back very quickly to Pathfinder, I was reading through them because one of my players is playing a halfling. There is a halfling type. There's 5 different types of halflings. One of them actually heals more. If he heals overnight, he heals extra. And then if somebody uses a medicine check on him, if he eats food, he heals extra.
All right. So
Nice.
what I
Anyway.
immediately had to check out here was what were the magic items. Because I think no matter what they are, they're going into my D&D games just from now on. Because I mean, why wouldn't you? As long as they're even somewhat decent.
Dave's never frozen spatula, 500 gold price, 1d10 damage, heavy weapon, can't be thrown, 1d6 extra heat damage to ice foes, ignites with orange flame within 50 feet of an ice foe. Drive-through headset, 500 gold price. Drive-through headsets are magically linked and can communicate among all other headsets. Many have been lost over time, and it's unclear how many remain or who else might be listening.
Yeah, unless it's the McDonald's one, and then none of them work.
Gem of the Ultimate Nugget. Attaching the gem of the Ultimate Nugget to the hilt of a weapon will add an effect to the weapon's attack. An enemy hit with this weapon must make a strength roll of 12 or higher, or take an additional 1d6 damage. On a failed roll, the enemy must roll again, taking an additional 1d6 damage on each failed roll until they succeed a successful roll.
I'd like you to scroll up just one page to these spicy stables, where they have the animals that you can get for this game, which include a rhino, a zebra, and a very large platypus.
Oh, the last one, Unicorn.
Mm-hmm.
Price, 5,000 gold, 80 hit points. Its attack is Rainbow Horn Blast. Does 1d20 damage. Movement is quadrupled.
Jeez. No, they did a good job with this.
Yeah,
They did a fantastic. When did this come out?
I don't actually know.
Dude.
It's been a while. So a couple other things about this. You actually get character buffs by eating Wendy's food. If you eat a cheeseburger from Wendy's, you get +1 strength. Any chicken item is +1 Arcana for the day.
Of course.
Frosty is +1 charm, etc., etc. You do get debuffs for eating other foods. So it's all it's like if you want to play this, you better be eating Wendy's. But
so it came out in 2019.
Okay, so this whole thing though is kind of fantastic. The classes are different orders: order of the spicy chicken, etc. Order of the homestyle chicken sandwich, and it goes up to level 5. Your characters do, and each of them have different abilities, etc., etc. And they actually have a whole campaign attached to this thing that you can run. And honest to God, I really am planning on running this at some point, because it only goes up to level 5, so you could run this over the course of a few game sessions, I would imagine. But this is I'm so glad he gave me this thing.
The mimic meal.
Yeah, the mimic meal. I don't want to talk about the mimic meal just in case I do run this thing.
Just the monsters they have in the back here are just great.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Let's take a look at some of those. The Fry Fiend, Grumble. This is a Waples monster if I've ever seen one. It's a Grumble.
And I have something. They have something that I do love, just in a game of mechanic sense. They have the Beef Bandit, but then they have the Beef Bandit buffed.
Yep.
For just all right. So here's your original, and here's your stronger version.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
the Frysta. They have Frysta and then Frysta Evolved. That sounds like a Pokemon.
Now, is that monster at the
reminds me-
bottom there with like the tentacle mouth?
It
is because it's a face hugger.
Yeah.
Frysta is a face hugger.
So here was my question for when Mike gave me this thing that I was really curious about is who the hell actually made this? The only names that are in this thing are the illustrator and the mapper, the guy who did the maps. I want to know who the hell wrote this. Did they just hand this shit off to the marketing department and say, make us a tabletop game?
Chris Perkins.
Maybe. But I actually looked up the illustrator. Like he's a freelance guy. So they hired an illustrator to do this thing. They hired the guy for the maps. But I'm guessing it had to have just been in-house Wendy's employees who made this thing.
I guess.
Matt Keck was the mastermind and a lead writer behind the Wendy's RPG Feast of Legends.
Okay.
All right, cool.
Who is Matt Keck?
Yeah, I don't know who this is, but maybe we need to talk to him about this thing.
Yes, we do.
How do you spell it? Matt Keck?
Matt, M, as in Matt.
I know how to spell Matt. What's his last name?
As in also Matt. T, as in
God damn.
Not today, Mac.
You know what? This is the part of talking to Waples I haven't missed.
Keck is spelled K-E-C-K.
There you go.
He is the guy that created the I'm a snake meme.
Oh my god, he is.
The I'm a snake meme? I don't want to know.
I'm a snake. I'm a sneaky snake.
So maybe we don't need to talk to this guy.
I don't want to talk to him now.
Are you sure it's just not the same name?
I don't care.
Wendy's.
I'm a snake.
So anyway, that's what I wanted to chat about. This thing is fantastic, and I have to run this.
I'm a sneaky snake.
And they put a lot of work into this thing too, because this is like 90 pages.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's over 90 pages, man. Like that's almost half of a D&D book.
I mean, to be fair, there's a YouTube video about the Feast of Legends.
Oh Lord.
Ooh.
Oh, so speaking of D&D books, when I was hanging out last night with my friend, we started looking at all the different modules and everything. And he has the original like printing of Tiamat's and whatever the next one right after that was.
Mm-hmm.
Like the very first 5e module books. And I was looking through these things, and you can feel the quality of those books. Like they're on good cardstock pages. The binding seems really, really solid. I would really like to know what the fuck happened.
That's because Cobalt Press is the one that published those.
Oh, is that what it was? Okay.
It says it on the cover.
I think you think I'm paying attention to any of that shit. So yeah,
use your eyes, Jay.
Man, I was flipping
Reading
through.
the book explains the book.
So he is the Sneck guy.
Oh,
he's definitely a D&D-er no matter what.
Obviously.
Because he actually has tattoos on his arm of all of the dice.
That's next level nerd right there.
Oh yeah.
He works in advertising, and he works for a company that Wendy's hired out to do their advertising back when they won the internet war.
Yeah.
So probably it's due to him. And he just is a D&D-er. Is like, you know what? I'm going to write a D&D for Wendy's. Whatever.
Let's see.
He's got like all the Pokemon tattooed on his arm, and he's a snack.
He has, he works on the Wendy's Twitter account.
Oh my god, I'm gonna be saying that forever now. I forgot all about that.
He worked on the We Beefin' mixtape, the Wendy's Fortnite activation.
I love how we're just going to go over this guy's entire.
No, I love him. We need to. This man needs to be more known.
Yeah.
This is great.
I mean, that is the kind of people that
there is physical copies.
Are there?
Holy shit!
I looked for some on eBay. They didn't.
No. They made physical copies for the team that developed the thing. There's a photo of it.
Oh man.
Yep.
So there's maybe 12 in existence.
Yeah, I was gonna say those are gonna be super rare.
Which also, I mean, just the art that they did for Queen of Wendy or whatever they call her is fantastic. Yeah. She looks great.
Yeah, she's wearing the blue and white sort of apron colors, but it's in armor, as opposed to what Wendy's normally wears.
So I did, I said, I did one other thing I wanted to ask you about.
Yeah.
And admittedly, this might be so niche that you don't want it for the podcast. I understand.
That's going on there anyways.
I talked to Jay
unless I have to.
I talked to Jay, and we happened to stumble into talking about Shadowmoor earlier. And so, of course, being what I need to know, I started going and looking it up. I got to say, from what I see of it, looks like a pretty solid LARP.
Been around.
It really is.
It's been around since '97, man. It's been around a long time.
I would say, I'm sitting there looking at the different races, seeing what the builds look like. I like that they start you off with at least enough build points so you're not useless. Yep. I guess when you first walk in the door.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that is because the average level of the game has just grown over time. It's
but they're smart enough
25, 30 now. Yeah.
Yeah, I would guess the average level is a little over 20.
All right, no, so you're still going to be a chump when you come in, and that's fine. But you're not going to be like the 5 hit point chump. You'll at least be able to take a hit or two.
You have enough to throw a bunch of spells or use a couple skills or do a couple BIP. It's actually balanced pretty well right now. The other thing is the players in the community are very not dicks. A lot of things.
We have a fantastic group of players there.
Yeah. So if there is a lot of newbies, they kind of take special care to treat them not with kid gloves, but treat them level appropriate. There's a lot of the new player community's expanded definitely over the past couple of years, so there's a lot of more new player stuff, and a lot of the times too that even if you are low level, you can still participate. And at the end of the day, everyone plays the one body game. So just what that is that everyone, even me as a fighter, is just at one body point. So one hit takes you down, and anyone can get you back up. So
I don't play that game.
That's the majority of the game near on the Sunday. So everyone can participate and play and have fun and fight. So it works out pretty well. PvP is almost non-existent now.
It's light. It's very light, and honestly, as far as new players, it's nearly non-existent.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we even have a PvP kill on site race, a gargoyle. If someone comes in as a gargoyle, they die, and players are like, "I'm gonna be a gargoyle and die horribly," and they're very happy about it.
Wait, why are they kill on site?
They're necromantic.
Yeah, it's a specific thing to Shadowmoor. It's not your standard, it's a stone statue gargoyle. It's nothing like that.
Is necromancy bad?
Yes.
It's illegal?
That's bad.
It is, in fact, illegal.
Okay, good to know.
It is illegal.
I hadn't looked at it yet, but I was contemplating looking at necromancy. Good to know that maybe I shouldn't bother.
If you like PvPing and want to live on the edge, that's the way to go in that game. But otherwise, probably not.
Not even a little bit, no.
But even though those who are necromancers, and it's super obvious that he's a necromancer if you metagame,
sure,
no one really does that, which is rare and unusual, but it's kind of fun.
Okay. I mean, I was sitting there looking at the different races and stuff like that. Props to them at least for, I like some of the requirements for what you have to do to play some of them. I'm a little
Yeah.
bummed because I kind of wanted to play an Ogre Magi, but I'm not sure how much I want to be covered in blue all the time.
I did it several times. I have an Ogre Magi on the character books, and it's in the summer. Forget it. But they have summer makeup rules nowadays where you don't have to wear it when it's hot. In the cooler months, it's not bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
But like the Ansarian, that seems kind of nice. I was thinking maybe an Earth Ansarian. How do you say that? Am I saying that right?
I don't know what that is.
The what?
EUNSURIAN.
What do they do?
They are the elemental sort of folks.
Okay,
They're the tribesmen live in the far west plains of blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I know why we didn't know what it was. They changed the name recently.
Oh.
To us, they're the Wachaga.
I saw a reference to that early, like in a different part of the website, and I had no idea what the hell they were talking about.
Yeah, I don't know why they changed the name, but probably because stupid people.
The website does need a little updating. There's a bunch of like typos.
Yeah. It doesn't get updated all that
It
much.
just got updated.
Yeah, like some of the main pages, like the words are cut off and stuff.
One of my favorite stories that I have that I caused to kind of give just like how a lot of the interaction with players goes. They had just introduced trolls into the game. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
As a playable race.
As a playable race. And they're not trolls like Lord of the Rings trolls or D&D trolls. They're Underdark trolls. I guess there's a DreamWorks cartoon that they're kind of based off of.
You mean troll dolls?
No, not troll dolls. It's
no,
because that's the DreamWorks movie is based off the troll dolls.
No, there's an animated thing where like there's like different kinds of trolls and they use crystals and magic. I don't know. Anyways, so there's these really cool makeup requirements, for the trolls, and we had a new player come in and basically play a troll along with a few of our friends. We're all trolls, and I knew this outside of the game. My character Thaldred did not know that trolls were a thing yet. As PC, I hadn't encountered them. So when someone comes up and screams, "Oh my God, look, it's one of those trolls," I go, "Oh, I've killed trolls before," ran over there and killed the player and treated him like I had just killed a troll monster and tried to loot him. And the player was very confused. And the other players came up to me and were like, no, he's good. They're friendly now. He's not the monster kind. You're not supposed to kill him and loot him anymore. I'm like, I don't understand. You said it was a troll. You're supposed to kill the trolls. And the new player is just lying on the ground, laughing his ass off that I killed him and like looted him like he was a monster.
Fair. Did you kill him? I'm guessing you didn't bother killing blow him.
No, I wasn't gonna. Out of game, I wasn't gonna take it that far. I knew they could pick him up easily enough.
So, one last story before we wrap this podcast up, since we're telling war stories of Shadowmoor. A long time ago,
I want to hear more about it. Yeah.
A long time ago, we had this guy come up from another game, and he was an experienced player. We actually knew him out of play and everything, and he came up and made a level 1 or low level goblin character. So goblins as monsters, when you kill them and loot them, they usually hand you 2 silver pieces. That's what a goblin is generally worth. So he's standing on the porch. We kill him and loot him, and he gives us 2 silver. So we're all just sort of laughing about it. And I think we picked him back up, or he resurrected or something, and he comes back over and we kill him again, and he hands us 2 silver. So at that point, we just start, healing him, beating him down, looting him. After a while, he's like, "I'm out of money."
Nice.
So we just took all of his money.
Okay, it was a Netflix show, Rise of the Troll Hunters Netflix show. That's what they're based off of.
Oh, okay. Troll Hunters. That was actually a good show.
Yeah,
I watched the first season, but it was
much different than the DreamWorks trolls, which are troll dolls.
All right. So actually, I do have one.
I would love to see troll doll trolls in a LARP. That would be. You just get gigantic different colored wigs, and big bulbous noses.
If you ever do make it to that game, we'll have to introduce you to Daryl so he can tell a story about trolled all trolls.
Okay.
At Shadowmoor, because it's happened before. Him and Josh did a thing with it. So
Nice.
anyway,
One last
go
thing
ahead.
before we go. I just want to do a shout out to an Instagrammer. His handle on Instagram is lapis_lancer. The reason I'm bringing it up is he's just an artist that does a lot of JoJo style, Dragon Ball Z style art. Just a kid out there drawing stuff and having fun.
Sure.
But he has an ongoing web comic series that he's been making, which is currently in round 15. It's basically a tournaments championship manga arc that he's drawing out, and it's all fast food restaurants fighting to claim the title of the best fast food fighter. And it's honestly a very intriguing storyline. He definitely copies the JoJo's style of art very well and uses that for a lot of the characters. And you just have to check it out. Really good stuff, really cool, unique designs for each of the characters. Wendy's is a good standout character design. So definitely check him out.
Yeah, not knowing anything about it, I just scrolling through his Instagram, and I did find the brackets, the battle brackets, where currently it looks like Wendy's is going to be battling Subway, Chick-fil-A is going up against Buffalo Wild Wings.
It actually reminds me of a battle map I made at one point that I was commissioned to make, where the guy was going to basically do a battle of the different food groups, and so he needed the meeting ground of all of those things. So I had to make a battle map with a gigantic mound of mashed potatoes with butter coming off of it, and that led into little rivers going off of it of gravy and butter. And then there was the sweets area and the vegetable area, the meats area. It was a hell of a battle map.
I love it.
But yeah, check out his Instagram. Watch his little competition he has going on, and have some fun. I love the characters that he makes. He's drawn all the energy drinks as these muscle bound fighters as well. So the Monster Energy drink guy is almost like an Incredible Hulk style kind of guy. That's great.
So anyway, that's it. I think. Thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks for joining us again, Panda.
Yeah, give us a saving throw again.
Yeah, thanks for not being dead.
I've been doing my best to not be dead. And if I get healthy enough, maybe I'll give out the Shadowmoor shot here.
Be awesome. All right, guys.
All right, we're giving a roll, and I got a 9. I'm still dead.
Damn it. Bye, Craig. Bye, dead Panda.
Bye, guys.
I'm gonna carve him up and make him a rug.
There you go. All right, have a good night, guys.
Bye.